This is the talk of Music City real estate.
Welcome back to another episode of the Talk of Music City Real Estate,
where we educate and motivate all things real estate.
My name is Mohr with Realty One Group Music City.
Hey, and I'm Carey Ann with CM.G Financial and my mortgage team.
Every week we'll be posting a new episode chock full of Nashville real estate value.
Yes, and you can follow along and subscribe at talkmusiccity.com.
Got a question for us? Ask away at questions@talkmusiccity.com.
Monty!
Carey Ann, we're back.
We are. Look
Good to
who's
see
in
you.
the
Holy
house.
smokes.
Is it chocked full or chucked full?
Well, I had a struggle with that at first, but my writer said no chock full.
Chock. Okay.
Right,
Good
Jim?
to know.
McCarthy?
Like the coffee, chock full of nuts.
Chock.
There you go.
Chock full. So
hey, I'm just going with
don't
it.
question the master here. So we are amazingly blessed to have my wonderful wife, Connie Mohr here.
He did it.
More commonly known as Connie Sue. Thank you very much.
I love it. He wasn't going to let that one go.
Oh, well, come on. Everybody from Chicago ought to have a second name. We're going to start a trend, okay? That's what makes it so ironic. Glad to have you here with us, Connie. I know you've got some important stuff we're going to get into here in just a second, but first we're going to talk about our awesome sponsor.
Yes, we're so very grateful for Music City Removal. They're the #1 junk removal service in Nashville from residential, commercial, and construction. They're experts at ridding you of junk. Their costs include labor and dumping fees without any hidden or added expenses. So whether you need a full clean out or just one item removed, they have you covered.
The Music City Removal team knows the importance of respect and trust while in someone else's home. They understand the inconvenience of junk left behind by previous homeowners and tenants and are determined to provide an affordable and customer-focused junk removal service that puts you first. For a free on-site estimate, just go to musiccityremoval.com. That's musiccityremoval.com.
Yes, Music City Removal, because clutter ain't cute. Shazam! But our guest is so cute.
I'm blessed to have two blondes today.
He's got
not one,
we should
but
put
two.
him in the middle and give a sandwich.
I know, right?
I love it.
No, but I asked Connie to come in today because she is the heartbeat of the operation here at Realty One Group Music City. It was only a mere 8.5 years ago that we met, and shortly after that, I tried to convince her to get a real estate license, and it wasn't working. She was on her way to do that, and then that day, my assistant of several years quit, and I said, Connie, can you help out in this capacity? And she hasn't looked back. How many?
Well, I did, but
you look back
for a brief moment.
Yeah. So anyway, there's several topics I want to cover here today. One of them, of course, is something that you're involved in all the time. I'm sure you know this, Carey Ann, but Connie is our onboarding specialist. She's our operations manager. What is your title now, sweetheart? I'm sorry, I can't say sweetheart either, can I?
Is it woman who does all?
Director of Operations and All Things Miracle.
All Things Miracle.
I like
there
that.
You go.
That's a good one.
All Things Miracle. So one of the things that we run into all the time is, first of all, I wanted to bring this up this time of year because 'tis this season for real estate professionals to be saying, I probably ought to check out a plan B just in case. Just in case, who knows? Every once in a while a real estate company might close. Every once in a while somebody might change leadership, or they might, whatever. There's a lot of and it doesn't mean that somebody's going somewhere. It just means that they're being a wise business person and just looking at a plan, what's my backup just in case. And so we get this question all the time, well, it must be a lot more complicated than what it is, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to invite Connie in to say, so Connie, what is the process of somebody going from company A to company B? And that could be this company or it could be another. One of the things that I love about Connie is when we do an interview, and we're kind of a tag team, I'm the gatekeeper. I get to see if somebody has got the right culture, will commit to doing the next right thing. Because, we're always trying to raise the bar in this industry because my conviction is the future of this industry depends solely on the real estate professional.
Amen.
And the real estate professional, we have all got to collectively raise the bar here in the conviction that I'm going to make sure that my client never hesitates referring to me to any family and friends because I've done such an outstanding job, okay? So anyway, where I was heading with that was, so Connie, let's talk about it. I mean, what I was saying is it is that time of year for people to start thinking, well, I don't have a lot of inventory right now. Let's see if maybe I just should check other. But then they're hesitant because they're not sure how that works. So lead us through the process. I'm sorry, I interrupted myself a minute ago. I'm sorry. One of the things that I like about you, especially Connie, on this capacity is that you hand them a very detailed C-created, we talked about the personality types not long ago, a C-created checklist of all the things that you need to know about before you make the move. And so it makes, and she hands that to people, whether they're coming to us or going anywhere. And she says that, hey, whether you land here or you land somewhere else, this will help.
Yes.
So let's talk about that.
So yes, it's not a difficult process. A lot of people think their license is going to be inactive, it's going to affect their business, and it couldn't be further from the truth. It's actually a 24-hour, 48-hour max process, but their license doesn't go inactive once they actually file with the real estate commission to transfer their license. It's just a matter of adding them to our roster in RealTrax, adding them to our roster with their association, whichever one they're affiliated with. We belong to 5 boards, but it's that easy. If they've got any outstanding contracts with their prior brokerage, those contracts will close there, but they'll still manage that business typically, unless the brokerage was the author of that business. But it depends on what their contract with that brokerage says ultimately. But for the most part, it's a super easy, quick process. We give them absolute A to Z checklist, including a step-by-step instructions on how to go into their Trek login, where to click to do everything, where do you load your transfer form and your E&O insurance, and it's that easy. It's literally, they could be done in 15 minutes.
Really? Wow. Impressive.
It's that easy.
Okay, so anyhow, that's really helpful because that kind of takes away some of the scariness of, what is involved. So you hit on something that if something's pending, and I know everything, first of all, hinges on the agreement between the company and the agent. Absolutely. What do you typically see as the typical scenario when somebody has something pending or somebody has a listing and they don't want to leave those things behind, of course? What is the typical situation?
So typically they will still manage that closing with their client. Everything will remain the same. It's just once they file with the real estate commission, any documents going forward would be under the new company. Other than that, they're still representing their client. They're getting getting them to the closing table. They're still earning their same commission that they did before based on their agreement with their prior brokerage, but nothing should change. And then any listings typically that are not under contract, those listings will typically transfer to the new firm with that agent.
Even though it is the broker's ownership.
Correct. Technically.
But
yes.
What I have seen as well is most brokers say, I'm going to keep the client's best interest at heart, and I'm going to let the author of that business take that away and take that with them, because that would be coming from a place of abundance and allowing that relationship to continue unfettered and or work some sort of a referral agreement or something.
Yes,
typically
correct.
That's what I see happen as well.
Yep. Yeah, usually it's pretty seamless. And, again, if someone were to come to us and say, hey, I just don't feel like this is the right place for me, I want to move on, we would obviously welcome them the best and make it as, again, it's all about the client. It's not about us. It's not about the agent. It's about the client and doing what's right for them, making sure that their closing is not interrupted and that business is taken care of.
So you spoke about a checklist, which I love a good checklist.
I love it.
So what are some things on that checklist, whether they were to come, to ROG or to another firm, to think about?
On the checklist, it's just pretty simple as far as letting them know from A to Z what they need to do from the time they get a signed transfer form, filing with Trek as soon as possible, making sure that we have a copy of that fully executed document so we can move them over with the association.
Okay.
Because that's what affects their transaction desk, where they produce their documents and things for their contracts and listings. So it does same thing with MLS. If they're transferring any listings, we give them step-by-step instructions on, some brokerages don't understand. They need to put listings at a transfer status and certain things like that. So we give them that information in case they're working with someone within their office that isn't familiar with the situation or the process. So again, it's they may have to have a document signed by their seller notifying them that they're changing firms as well. But it's really pretty seamless, pretty easy. Because honestly, at the end of the day, people don't care what name is on your sign. They don't care what color your sign is. It's all about that relationship and all about the clients at the end of the day. So, yeah. That's good. Good to remember.
Yeah, and that is absolutely true. That consumer doesn't care. And we're sharing this from a standpoint of, hey, we have agents come and go sometimes. I mean, not that often. We have a really low turnover rate, but we're trying to bring this this conversation to light and demystify it, because we've heard so many rumors over the years about whether somebody could change companies or not, and it's just so much of it is, a lot of it's not true.
Right.
It's because, and I get it, no broker, and I'm included in that. Okay, no broker likes to see somebody leave. Typically, I mean, there's sometimes, you might celebrate a little bit when somebody left, because we have a no a-hole requirement. I didn't say ass, I said a. So I'm sorry.
You're good.
Was it illegal?
You got two Northerners on the side of the deal here. You're fine.
My point is, we really try to simplify it. We just do the next right thing, and don't be a knucklehead in the process, okay? Yeah. And if you are a knucklehead or you don't do the right thing, then we're going to invite you to move somewhere else. Yeah. And it's nothing personal, just that we're trying to raise a bar of a consciousness and awareness within Realty One Group Music City that, hey, this group of people know what they're doing, and they do the next right thing, and they work from a place of abundance, and they honor the consumer's experience because their team leader, me, yours truly, is, again, I go back to the concern I have for the future of this industry hinges on the professionalism of the real estate individual, and that is a requirement of leadership, I think, that the leaders hold a standard, and that standard is not looking the other way when things are done incorrectly. And again, nobody's perfect, I get that, but at least have the intention of making sure that as much as possible that everybody's committed to doing the next right thing. It's not complicated. I know you do the same thing in your business.
Oh, it's important. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, Connie, what else can you share with us?
He gets no dinner tonight.
I'll feed him. He's too skinny.
What else do you have to share with us today, sweetheart?
Well, yeah.
Sorry, I said sweetheart too.
That's okay. When someone does leave our office and they're still indecisive on whether or not they're going to move or anything, again, we give them a nice folder and say, hey, whether or not you land here or you land somewhere else, this information is going to help you. But at the end of the day, we do coach them. If you're interviewing around with other brokerages, here's some really key things to ask so that you don't get blindsided after the fact. Do they provide training free of charge? Or after you start, are all of a sudden you're going to find out, guess what? You need to pay for classes, number one. Number two, ask hard questions about fees. They may tell you up front there's only a transaction fee or a little business tax, and then you get your first paycheck and it's cut up like a pizza pie. And you've got split fees and corporate fees and all these other things being deducted from your check. Number two, and then number three, that number three always gets me, in their onboarding process. So again, do they have a really good onboarding where you've got somebody there that's going to answer your questions, hold your hands? Do you have someone like a agent success manager like we do, Chrissy Amundsen, yay.
Hey, Chrissy.
Just somebody that's helping them with all those technical questions, their systems, their IT, their email, their all of those things, because changing firms, you've got to remarket yourself, rebrand yourself, business cards, signs, just headshots, all of these things. You've got a lot of changes to make in some cases, depending on how heavy your marketing is. So we try to take a lot of that pressure off them. They get a series of onboarding emails. It's really super structured. And that's the one thing we really pride ourselves on, is we make it as easy as possible for the agent, so they know exactly what they have to do, the time frame of everything. And then again, asking those hard questions if they're interviewing around, because it's important that you not get blindsided after you've already signed with someone.
Yeah. What's cool about you, and you are so organized. I think that's really important. I think that makes a great team, right?
Are you trying to say I'm not?
You're not.
Well, you probably resemble me a lot of the case. Well, but we need a great number two, and to have that be your other half too, I think is so awesome.
It's got its dynamics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
But knowing that you can trust, and knowing that the person in charge with operations is so great. But you guys have an onboarding every week.
Every week.
And so to know that possibly maybe I didn't resonate or didn't understand, I can come back, for a refresher course. And I always hear, on the calls that I'm on where you always welcome everybody to come back if they would like, which I think is really welcoming, to the group. So.
Yeah, and especially for a new licensee, it's a huge brain dump. I mean, they just got out of how many, hours of online education to get their license active, and then we bring this dump truck of information and dump that on them, and it's very overwhelming. So we always invite our agents to come back. We've had some come back 2 and 3 times just because,
So Connie, God bless you for coming here today, because you just got done. You just got out of a 4-hour, 5-hour onboarding with 4 new agents, and I really appreciate you coming here today. But can we give a quick overview of what does that look? What is I mean, as you know, I've not sat through that 4 or 5 hour onboarding.
I keep asking him. I can't keep his attention for 5 hours.
Yeah, that's probably true. No, it's not true, because I know you bring some great stuff. All I know is the agents come out there saying, "Oh my God, I learned more, here today than I have learned for years." But so, can you give us a quick overview? What does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be really well-rounded, because we not only have experienced agent, with a lot of experience in the business, but brand new licensees.
Yeah, you had a real variety today.
Yeah, we did. I mean, from 6 years to brand new to, somewhere in between, somebody transferring in from out of state. So you have to touch on all those aspects without boring the pants off of somebody that's been there, done that. Mm-hmm. So we have... because of my years in business with this man and his, I don't want to say this bad, but his lack of organization, I'm exactly the opposite. I come from a project manager background, finance background, so I'm all about the details and the systems. Work stronger, faster, I want an easy button on everything. So it's really important to us that we are super clear and give our agents the tools they need, so they walk out of there with this binder full of policies and procedures and how to get in systems and just everything, even coaching as far as clause language that we've built internally to help our agents compete with listings and for contracts, which are multiple offer situations in many cases, to multiple offer matrix that they can send a report to a client when they've got multiple offers on a property, so they can see all of the offers side by side, different tools, stuff for MLS, and just everything. I mean, every aspect of from contract to close to wire fraud training to system training to email to everything. I mean, we touch on a lot of things during onboarding training. That's why everybody walks out of there like their head's going to explode, but they're excited, even senior agents, because these are tools that they, number one, wish they would have had when they were growing up.
Right.
But they're excited just about the things that they're have access to.
It sounds like you thought 2 steps ahead on some of the problems that you possibly see over and over again.
Yes.
So you're already, setting them up for success, which I think is a huge win.
Yeah, one huge advantage that we had in the scenario is that we had the last 2 years we were at the last company with the balloon. We had awesome company, by the way. We had one of the top teams in that organization, and so she had really developed this onboarding because we were really holding the standard really high, and I had developed a reputation of probably churning through some agents looking for those right people, because we didn't we didn't look the other way. This is the question we always asked: will so and so's clients refer them to their family and friends after this experience? And if that answer wasn't affirmative, if that answer was anything other than yes, especially the second time we asked that question, then we would say, I don't think this is for you. And that's how critical I'm not proud of that. I'm not embarrassed by it, but I am. I don't say I'm not proud of it. I am, but that's really a high standard to hold them to. Okay,
sure. Because
people have to grow and people have to develop. And keeping in mind that we didn't hire anybody that was experienced, we always went from brand new spanking people because we didn't want to have to retrain them and so forth, So,
but their training was 2 days long with me, one-on-one, and they didn't walk out till they knew how to write an offer. I mean, it was intense.
It was intense.
But they're still today some of our finest, and you know who they are.
Yeah.
Some of our finest people, and they grew up with just.
They really understand how to do it, And so she's condensed that 2 days into now 4 hours, and that's why we encourage people. Look, pick up the technology, for instance, that resonates with you. it'll mean a lot more to you, the other parts, after you're out there for, 3 or 4 or 5, 6 months, and then come back. It doesn't cost you anything. We want to make sure you're equipped. We've heard so many war stories about people not feeling like they were onboarded properly or onboarded at all. They just kind of said, okay, here you go. And we don't ever want to do that, because, again, it starts with the leadership. If we're going to depend on the future of our industry based on the professional agent, guess who helps create that professional agent? It's their leadership.
Yes.
As they start and as they grow in the business.
And the vendors that they surround themselves
Well,
with.
absolutely.
I mean, we talked about it today that, people aren't just hiring you as a real estate professional. They're hiring your team.
Right.
Your lender,
And
your
there's some
title
responsibility
company,
in
your
that.
contract to close. Absolutely. Absolutely.
We told them today, Carey Ann, that look, you can go out and experiment. You can find out, like I did, that the person that brought the best donuts wasn't the best mortgage professional. You can, if we're recommending somebody, guess what? They've already been scrutinized by guess who? Yours truly, that has, sold thousands of homes. So, and I don't want to sound like I'm not something special. I say that with all humility, that I learned the hard way. God, my first 6 transactions were tied up with somebody who brought great donuts. I didn't know the difference. Nobody told me that. And then as they started, each one dying in my family at home, young kids and everything, wondering why is Dad not feeding us, it became really critical. And I don't know if you remember this, Carey Ann. Let me put you on the spot. But the first couple transactions that we did were not easy. They shouldn't have been easy anyhow. I'll say that. I don't know if they were easy or not for you, but they shouldn't have been easy. That was my MO. Okay, somebody's got my attention in the mortgage industry. Let me throw them a hard one. Let me throw them a bone. Let me see what they can do with that one. Ha ha, take that, And you shocked me, because you not only closed on time, you closed early, and the person was loving you and all that kind of stuff, and then the next one, and it's like, okay, well, that's somebody I can refer in the future, and that's why we do.
Well, I think what you're saying so many great things, because if you can learn the basics, if you can learn, we talk about foundation a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you can learn the foundation, you can be so great. So just being fabulous in the glamorousness of our profession doesn't keep you in our profession long term, right? Doesn't keep you moving and wowing people during the difficult times. Not everybody is cookie cutter, as in the clientele that you're going to be working with.
Nobody is.
Yeah, and I always say I'm not a bank girl. Okay, I've just never been the person that's looking for the 20% downer, right? Somebody that came in the industry that learned the hard way. So I welcome all opportunities. But what we know with my team is, we talked about it earlier, we don't just wait for an opportunity, we prepare for an opportunity, right? So we're studying and we're training and we're working towards always knowing. I shared a story earlier about a client that was working with a lender for 6 months, and they got under contract, and they said they needed an extension for 2 days. So the buyer did a early occupancy. Well, that 2 days led to 3.5 weeks. That led to the call that they're denied, right? And then they give me the call to see if I could bring some life back into that transaction, which I'm well known to do, to find out that what she told me, that the other lender said an FHA guideline just recently changed. And I said, that guideline changed about like 5.5 years ago, plus. So knowing guidelines, and working with professionals, and I'm so grateful that you did this to me. You asked all the right questions. You sent the difficult transactions. You just didn't look for somebody who just pays the highest dollar figure. There was more to our relationship. And I think that is worthy, for many people to know. And for me to hire only the best under me and making sure that they're trained on a regular basis is so key. But to hear the borrower, he said, you've told me more in 24 hours that I've heard in 6 months, and sadly this whole family now has to move.
Breaks my heart.
It makes me so sad. So there's so many people that get in our professions, whether it's real estate or lending, that are just in it because for whatever reason, they think it might be easy, or maybe you're going to make a lot of money. You can do all of those things and eventually be easy. Anything, it's hard first before it gets easy. But you have to start with that foundation, and you do an amazing job with really creating a solid foundation for every agent that comes into ROG. So, and I'm grateful for this relationship.
Thank you, Carey Ann. And let me say while we're here on air that I'm really grateful for my wonderful wife. Okay, I really truly am, because it's not easy, being married to me. I get that. Apparently, it's not easy. Because I'm, maybe a workaholic. I don't know. I just want excellence. I just want people to do the next right thing. I just want to, be able to touch lives and change them forever as far as in a positive way. But Connie has embraced this opportunity to do what she does in such an incredible way. There's no way we could do what we do on a high level that we do it at. And we do it with paying the agents 100% of their commission during that process of bringing all this value to them. And I'm telling you, not everybody is, can do that. And I just applaud you, Connie.
Thank you.
It's hard to say sweetheart and Connie too, but I didn't say that. You noticed that, right?
I told our interview yesterday that, thank you, that, we consider our agents our clients, because without them, we wouldn't be the success that we are. Without them, we wouldn't have jobs. And we do treat them, our customer service, our back office support is so, so important. And again, that should be a big question. If anybody's looking at making a change in their brokerage, ask good questions and ask about that support.
Yep.
Each person you hire is just so welcoming. They're so kind.
Yeah.
They're always eager to help and create any solution to any problem, whether it's something so simple, or something more difficult. And it's a great team for sure. You've hired some great people that's around you for sure.
We're blessed. Thanks for being on today. Thank you, Connie, and thank
Anytime.
you, Carey Ann.
Yes, it's great
You're
to know
awesome.
those details and have that checklist. I love it. Love that.
If you need
thanks
that
again.
checklist, reach out to Connie.
Yeah, come on.
Wherever you're going, we'll be glad to provide that checklist.
I'd be more than
for
happy
you.
to share it. And it is on our website as well, realty1groupmusiccity.com. There's a Join Us little section in there that's got a lot of details about transferring your license. So come on.
Awesome. Good info.
Come on.
I love it. Well, thanks again, everybody, for joining us this week. We can't wait to have you come back next week. You've been listening to The Talk of Music City Real Estate.